Hey guys, and welcome to this video on the topic of how Astralis approaches the T side of Nuke, the map that they're fabled for the most, and they're definitely the best Nuke team there has ever been. So before we get into this, let's just get everyone up to speed with a couple of things you need to know about the terrace side of Nuke. First thing you need to know are the secret cross smokes, and the first one lands just before the red crate, and the other two smokes land the other side of the red crate and allow you to cross through that secret area. Also, something that works really great on the terrace side of Nuke are fast, squeaky hits. And because of this, the CTs will molly this squeaky area almost every single round they have the utility. Because if the T side manages to get out of squeaky and onto that bomb site, then it can be very hard to deal with. And it will be really important for you to keep in mind the potential for running this execute throughout the video. To kick off with, we're going to see quite an aggressive and ballsy play coming out from Astralis. And to start off with, we're just going to look at the round overall to get a rough idea for what's going on. The first thing we see happening here is the smoke going down for that T red cross, and at the same time, Astralis, they're throwing the nades for a fast, squeaky hit that we saw a second ago. The next thing that happens is Zipnix and Magister get themselves onto Silo, and then jump onto mini roof, work themselves along a little, and then jump over that garage angle towards the hell area. And now they're going to shift along and get themselves up into heaven and flank those CT players who are caught completely unaware. So now that we have a rough idea of what's going on, let's watch this one play out again, but this time from the perspective of Magis. So as we said, the first thing that goes down here is a T red cross smoke, and now Magis and Zipnix can get themselves onto Silo before jumping down onto mini roof. Now they're going to work themselves along a little and jump over that angle, which is both mini and back garage, which is a very common spot for the CTs, and you definitely don't want to just be falling off the top of mini roof straight into those angles unless you know that the CTs are unlikely to be playing there. So instead they're going to jump over the angle, and now they're shifting along towards that heaven area, and now they're going to silently go up into heaven. And at this point the CTs have absolutely no idea that they pulled off this flank, and Magis is going to get two really great kills, catching the CTs totally with their pants down. So the question you may be asking yourself is, what is the role of the utility that Astralis threw in this round? Because clearly it doesn't look like a normal execute or a take of map control. So we'll start off here with the cross to red smoke, and this is something that Astralis will throw almost every round. But it just denies the CTs some information on whether the Ts have crossed that red crate, and you can jump spot around it and these sort of things, and maybe even get to Africa. It just opens up some options for the terrorist side. But the most important pieces of utility here is definitely the nades for a fast, squeaky hit, and we need to think about what this does to a player in mini. And very commonly on the CT side of Nuke, you're going to have a player in mini at the start of the round. So what these nades do is they pull loads of the mini player's attention towards squeaky, and he will almost be solely focused on trying to counter nade that fast, squeaky hit, which is a really dangerous round from the terrorist side if they manage to make it out of squeaky and towards that bomb site. But the underrated thing going on here is all about the sound. Because of all those nades going down towards mini and coming out of squeaky, it is a nightmare to hear Magis and Zip falling onto that mini roof because of those smokes, flashes, the CT molly, and then Device even smokes onto that molly, which makes even more sound and threats a vent dive. And now you can actually see that Naf, he was actually scared of this vent dive happening, and he starts spamming the smoke just in case it was occurring. So all of this sound and attention towards the CT vent area gives Magis and Zipnix the best possible chance to actually achieve this wrap onto heaven without the CTs knowing, which is exactly what happened in this round. So we'll just say that the counter-terrorist side here did get very unlucky with the setup they were in, and they were in possibly one of the worst setups to go against this style of round from Astralis. And this is because they didn't have a garage player, they didn't have a mini player, and they didn't have a player even towards outer, perhaps towards that blue crate area, which could have made this much, much harder to pull off for Astralis. Next up, we're going to have a quick look at this pistol round from Astralis, and we're going to talk about a particular rotation they really wanted the CTs to make. So watching on board with Zipnix, we can see that he first nades off that squeaky door, then throws a vent dive smoke and flashes into it, and then he's going to try and spam a leash down here, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to catch him. And whilst this is going on, the other four players are working themselves down ramp. The main thing that Astralis was scared of here was a double ramp setup, which is quite common at the top level on CT Nuke. Pistol rounds, probably with one player hell, and then one player either baited in or just playing a standard ramp spot. And what Astralis really wanted to do here was make that hell player rotate so that they'd only be going into one player rather than two. So it wouldn't have really mattered in this round because Liquid were playing solo ramp, but in general that vent dive smoke just causes total chaos for the CD side, especially when they don't know if you vent dived or not. Could force some weird rotations out of them or force some overreactions with utility, which is always a good thing from that terrorist perspective. In this following clip from Astralis, we're going to see a very ambitious round. It doesn't actually work out in the end, but it certainly is an interesting one to look at regardless. We're going to start off here watching on board with Glaive and seeing what he does towards the outer area. So as we can see, he first smokes that red cross, and now he's going to start jumping around on these blue crates to have a look around outside and make sure nobody's going aggressive outer. And now he's checking all of the outer spots, looking around the right side of T-Red, moving back towards the mini area and clearing out more spots, just sort of checking that the CTs haven't got someone aggressive and getting some information on them. Next up, the secret cross smokes are going to come over, and Glaive is going to move over to back red to molly out those secret stairs, which is something that you should do every single round that you are going down secret. So I believe that Glaive took the AWP on this round because it's easier to clear out those far back angles on outer, as we saw Glaive doing just a second ago. But now we can see that Glaive is working himself down secret and is jiggling all of these angles, because AWPing these secret angles is very common at the top level. So once getting down the stairs, Glaive is going to try and make loads of noise to fake out some presence to help sell Liquid that Astralis are actually coming down secret with heavy numbers. So whilst Glaive was working secret here, Astralis are going to fake and execute onto that A-bomb site with a main smoke and a heaven smoke. They're also going to molly out CT vent, and they're going to get a kill onto Nav here because of it. So whilst this is going on, Astralis, they go straight into a ramp hit. Now actually they're going to lose this round. Liquid gets some nice kills, and I think not having a molly to go down onto hell slowed down Astralis a little and allowed Liquid to get those rotates in. Now as you saw here, essentially all of Astralis' utility in this round went towards either denying information or faking out an area on the map. And I think the idea behind this round for Astralis is they've applied pressure to the secret area and the A-bomb site, so perhaps you would expect ramp to be left more open. And actually, if you watch on board of Taco, you'll see that he rotates down to lower ramp, which is not as good of a position as taking a fight at the top of ramp, then falling down. But unfortunately for Astralis, Liquid, even perhaps in a less setup, still found some really great kills onto them. But that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes in professional level Counter-Strike. Moving on, we're going to have a look at this round versus Mousesports, where Astralis, they make a really great call off the back of some early information that they had gained. Watching on board with Device, we can see that the first thing he does here, he gets boosted onto this blue box, and now he's holding the garage cross for kind of checking CT blue. And if you've ever wondered why CT teams throw a smoke that lands next to the red crate, it's so that a player can cross back garage without being spotted on this sort of angle. But Astralis, they have the information now. They know that it's very unlikely that a player is back garage, and that's going to be very important later in the round. Next up, Astralis throw those cross smokes to potentially move into a secret play, but unfortunately they get counter-naded. So the call comes in, and they're instead going to move into a mini split, which is a really great call because there isn't a player back garage. They can't have that crossfire between back garage and mini, and it's not too bad to trade onto a mini player. As they go in then, Oscar, he didn't stand a great chance here, and now Astralis are barreling onto the site. So I will just point out that Mouse were not in a great setup here, and I think Oscar actually made a mistake by moving back into mini rather than going onto hut roof and trying to force out a headshot angle. But regardless, the information that Astralis had here that nobody was back garage, as well as the secret cross smokes potentially force a rotate out from the CD side, meant that going straight into a mini split was a really, really great call from Glaive here. Finally then, let's watch a bit of a looser round from Astralis. And again, we're going to be watching on board with device. So just like last time, he's going to get boosted onto this blue box. But this time, Liquid, they've thrown that garage cross smoke. So instead, he aims towards that far secret cross. And now he's going to move forward and jump around a little, looking over the top of the CT smoke to try and scout out that outer area. Now jumping forward a little, Astralis, they threw the outer cross smokes once again. Molly on Secret, and now Glaive and Device as a pair are going to clear out some of this close secret area. Also, notice that whilst Glaive and Device were working down Secret, Nitro, he decided to rotate off from that garage area because he feared that Astralis were indeed going lower, so he went over to take over ramp from Taco so that Taco could fall into that B bomb site. Jumping back to Astralis, the next thing we're going to see is an incredible piece of team play coming out as they double peak back garage and mini back to back on a flash, and Glaive here is going to find that entry kill onto NAF. Also, a little after, Dupree is going to catch Nitro and Hell unaware, and at this point the round is essentially over for Team Liquid. So I think the thought process for Astralis during this round that they haven't shown this sort of play yet, and again, throwing those cross smokes and clearing out close secret would likely force a rotate and potentially leave that outer area more open for Astralis to exploit. So during these rounds, we have watched a true masterclass from Astralis on how to deny information and abuse those counter-terrorist rotations, which can help get those terrorist players into a favourable situation. Now, if you guys want to run some of these rounds or perhaps learn some of the smokes in your own game, I'll have the demos linked in the description, but certainly for these sorts of plays, it's more important to understand what Astralis are actually trying to achieve with their utility than all of the specifics about all the flashbangs used and all of this sort of thing. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed that one, why don't you like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.